Hi, today we're going to review how to assemble an Eco Wine Racks Reveal Display Kit. The world's only wine racks made from renewable materials and come standard with clear, low VOC, water-based lacquer. Eco Wine Racks are the industry's easiest and quickest racks to assemble and the only ones that do not require unsightly screws or nails for assembly. The only time you need screws or nails when working with our product is when you're going to attach it to the wall or attach it to adjoining racks or cabinets. There are 9 kits available in the Reveal Display Rack category. There are 3 heights, 3 foot, 4 foot, and 5 foot. And there are 3 widths, 2 column, 4 column, and 8 column. Today, we're going to be assembling a 4 column Reveal Display Rack. Let's go over the components that are included in this kit. First of all, there are 2 types of ladders. There's an end ladder, which has bottle rails attached to one side only. In this kit, there is a left and a right end ladder. The second type of ladder is a center ladder. It has rails on both sides, and there are 3 of them in this kit. Also included in the kit are a number of spacer bars. These are narrow. They have holes drilled all the way across their length. There's a Reveal support bar, which is a much wider bar, and it has holes drilled on one edge going its entire length. There's a single joint strip, which is a mid-sized bar, and it has 2 holes drilled all the way down the length. And finally, there are 2 metal clips for fastening this rack to the wall. The last things that you're going to need will be a soft rubber mallet, a tube of white carpenter's glue, and a cordless drill for mounting the rack to the wall. To assemble this rack together, we're going to start with one end ladder. And you notice this ladder has a series of notches at both sides of the ladder. There's a wide notch here, and in each of these notches there is a nylon connector pin. These are the pins that are going to connect to the receiving holes in the spacer bars that will allow the rack to positively lock together. So, I'm going to lay this rack on its side. I'm going to take 4 spacer bars that I'll need to connect to these 4 slots in the rack. Take my wood glue, and I'm going to put a generous drop of glue in every hole. This can be carpenter's glue, it can be plain white glue like Elmer's glue. It doesn't matter, it'll all work really well. The idea is, once the nylon connectors make contact in these receiving holes and the glue dries, you've got a rock solid rack that didn't require any kind of nails or screws to hold it together, which would otherwise look pretty bad. So this is the back of our rack. I'm going to position my 4 spacer bars roughly the width of the 4 slots in the rack. I'm going to position my first spacer bar right over the pin and gently press it in place and follow that all the way up the ladder. Pretty easy. Next, I'm going to take a center ladder, and notice that these bottle rails are all angling forward. You want to make sure that all these ladders are positioned the same way, otherwise the rack is not going to go down. So again, I'm positioning my rack over the whole spacer bar. If you've got 2, you can give it a little tap, followed by our other center ladders. If at any time you are putting this rack together and the pins are reluctant to go into the receiving hole, stop, remove the ladder, and find out why what the obstruction is. Generally, it's where the pin has not been set right over the hole of the spacer bar, which prevents it from going in. You don't want to push down hard, or you'll lay the pin over and break it, which will complicate your assembly process. Finally, our last end ladder. Position it same way, gently press down, a little tap if you need it. So now we've got the back of the rack attached. To explain, this is an upper rack, and it can be either used as a standalone rack, meaning it will be freestanding on top of a cabinet that you may have in your wine room, or it can be used in conjunction with one of our lower racks, and actually where the two racks can actually mount together. In this particular exercise, we're going to be building it as a standalone rack, and we will cover the connection of an upper and lower rack at a later point in this video. So for this particular exercise, we are not going to need the joint strip. We'll set that aside. We're going to need 2 spacer bars, I beg your pardon, and the reveal support bar. So in order to put this rack together as a standalone unit, we are going to need 4 spacer bars, so in order to put this rack together as a standalone unit, we are going to need 3 spacer bars, So in order to put this rack together as a standalone unit, we're going to need 3 spacer bars and the reveal support bar. The joint strip we will not need for this exercise. That will be used when combining 2 racks together, which we'll cover a little later in this video. So I'll set that aside. We're going to take our 3 spacer bars and our reveal support bar, and again, we're going to go through and apply a liberal amount of glue in each hole. The good thing about white glue is it's water soluble. So if you have a little bit that spills over onto one of these support bars, all you have to do is take a damp cloth and wipe it off before you make the connection to the rack, and you'll never ever know it was there. Okay, so we're going to start at the top, and we're going to find the receiving holes, get them approximately lined up over the rack, and then gently press in place. Again, if something's not going together smoothly, there's usually, the reason for that is that the pin is not aligned with the hole on the spacer bar. So you want to stop, remove the spacer bar, take a look up underneath, and realign it. Don't lay the pin over, it'll break. So then, starting at one end, we're going to press our spacer bar in place. Then we're going to take the reveal support bar, and we're going to press it down. Little tap. And finally, we'll apply the bottom spacer bar. And there you have it, a standalone reveal display rack. We're going to combine a lower rectangular bin with a reveal display rack. The lower rectangular bin, during assembly, the topmost front spacer bar was not attached to the rack. The same is true on the reveal display rack. The bottommost front spacer bar was not attached to the rack. These are going to be used as our main contact points. Those contact points are going to be joined with this join strip, which was provided in the reveal display kit. What we're going to do is we're going to take our white glue and we're going to put a single drop in the 2 bottom holes. That will be for the rectangular bin. And then we're going to put drops of glue in each of the holes on the other side of the joint strip. Next, since we have glue in these 2 spots, we're going to attach the joint strip to the rectangular bin and just simply press it in place. Next, we take our reveal display rack, position it over the rectangular bin, and gently pull it forward until the pins engage with the rack, like that. Once this is accomplished, you'll want to either put a few small nails or screws to attach these two spacer bars together. It'll just tighten up this connection, so when you're against the wall, it's going to be a nice firm fit. If you're going to put nails in, some really fine brads, be sure to pre-drill the holes to prevent the spacer bars from splitting, or if you've got a micro pin nail gun, this is a good place to just put two small pins in there, and that should do the trick. Once your rack is completely assembled and the glue has had time to dry and harden in the holes, it's now time to mount the rack to the wall. Now we provide two of these metal clips which are intended to go right over the spacer bars. So if you have a stud wall, you want to find the studs, mark them on the wall, and then place these metal clips in a place where they align with the studs and put a screw right into that stud. If you're going into drywall, you can use a drywall anchor to hold it in, although it's probably not the most secure way to do it because drywall can fail. And then if you're going to some sort of a masonry block wall or concrete wall, you need to use a concrete anchor with the same application of this clip anywhere that you have that anchor hole. But with this attached, the rack will be securely attached to the wall.